Hello, my friends. This is Rabbi Aviner, and we continue our study of Genesis, focusing on the seventh commandment. And today we arrived at bloodshed, which is Noahide third. This is the first class on bloodshed, and I will call it the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And our topic, subtitle would be, how did it affect the transition from Eden to earth? So few introductory words, and then we'll talk about the tree of itself, the tree of knowledge, and its role in the transition from Eden to earth. So we are now we're following the Torah narrative. We just finished talking about Garden of Eden, and the Torah immediately takes us to Cain and Abel, the first murder, bloodshed. So since Eden is about idolatry and adultery, Eden is completely about adultery, sexual prohibition, marriage, and the institution of marriage, and a prohibition of adultery and sexual prohibition. Everything in the story of Eden is about Noahide commandment number 2, adultery. So as we finish with the story, the Torah moves us right away to bloodshed, Cain and Abel, which is number 3. So if we paint, theoretically, if we paint the story of Eden with pink, to show that it's completely talking about adultery, we can now paint Cain and Abel with red, bloodshed. But it's not just Cain and Abel. It's the whole chain of stories that follows from Cain and Abel to the Rainbow Covenant, Noah generation. Everything in that segment revolves around bloodshed. Actually, the segment tells us how humanity drifted or degenerated from killing of one person, Cain and Abel, to rampant, terrible, heinous bloodshed and killing that plagued Noah generation and culminated with a flood. The whole section then can be painted with red, including the Rainbow Covenant that followed the flood. Because what is a Rainbow Covenant? As we will learn, it's a covenant between God and Noah's children, which is humanity of today, that the flood will not come back so fast as in the past, provided mankind observe bloodshed laws. How do I know that? Because the Rainbow Covenant itself lists all the possible options of killing: abortion, suicide, indirect killing, all that covered by the Rainbow Covenant. Which means the Rainbow Covenant itself is based on bloodshed laws. Since we all live today under that covenant, so we need to be careful. We are on contingent. We need to keep the Rainbow Covenant in order to avoid another flood. Maybe in the past it was flood of water. Who knows what kind of flood we'll have now? Fire? Atomic? Look at the Middle East. Every day I wake up and I ask myself, is the Middle East still alive if it's not covered by smoke of atomic bombs? It's a real threat. So it's very relevant to our lives. So in short, now we have structure in Genesis. We detected structure there. Chapter 1 deals with idolatry, introduced idolatry into the world when he spoke in plural, saying, let us make Adam in plural. That's introduction of idolatry, as Rashi says. So we can paint the entire chapter with gold, arbitrarily with gold. Then we follow Eden with pink, and now bloodshed with red. So there is a structure moving. The book takes us from one commandment to the next. Devote a whole segment for each commandment. And that trend continues. Because after the flood, after the rainbow covenant, the Torah will devote the whole section of the Torah to the story of Abraham. And lo and behold, the entire segment of Abraham revolves only on one topic: theft, organized theft, slavery, ownership. Go from one section, one story to the other, and you will see everything is around theft, which is Noah number 4. So we can paint the whole section, let's say green. And then the Torah takes us to Jacob, fighting for justice and civil order. It is right. The firstborn right, fighting against being cheated by Laban for his work, for his wife. So it's all about civil order and justice, which is Noahide number 5. You can paint it with purple. The whole chain of stories. And then the story of Joseph, revolving around blasphemy and sanctification of God's name. That's basically the story there. And so we can paint it with black. So we have now structure of book of Genesis, from idolatry, to bloodshed, to theft, and to justice and civil order and blasphemy. Adam's 6 commandments. So Moses wrote the book of Genesis for us with the Adam's 6 commandment on his mind, telling us that humanity is going to stumble from one commandment to the next. So if the outcome of that discussion is, so now we have a proper list. You know, there are many lists outside there of the commandment, which come first, which second, and so on. There are many lists being offered, but in a lot of debate, which come first, which comes second. Now we have, that's the end of it. Because now we look at the book of Genesis, and the list, the order is here. Idolatry first, adultery second, bloodshed, theft, justice, and blasphemy. No doubt, this is what Moses had on his mind. So we have a list. And there is a inherent psychological reason for that list. We talk about it there in the past. People, you violate one commandment and you right away being besieged or trapped by the next one. This is how we are built. For instance, if one violates idolatry, doesn't believe in God, I bet the next step will be he will have an affair. Look around us, you will see it. it's so prevalent because people don't believe in God anymore. So from idolatry, you go to adultery, number 2, an affair. And what will be the outcome if not somebody running after you with a pistol or a knife, bloodshed? Or you will try to get rid of the spouse. You've seen that. There are books about that. And if you have done all that and you stole somebody's wife, why don't you steal his property? Yeah, that happens. Read the Christian book. Read Great Gatsby. And read the Bible. Once you have committed all adultery and bloodshed, you will try to take the property, and then you try to cover it. Injustice, number 5. So there is a psychological path downfall, building us. So, and you go to movies, you read the books, you can really detect it, how the author, without knowing it, follow that path. So then, in summary, Moses give us a list in a book, and we know what order, and there is a psychological reason for that order. And there is more than that, but that's not our topic. So let us now ask, okay, now we have a whole segment devoted to bloodshed. When you look at the 10 Commandments of Sinai, it's just one line. Thou shalt not commit murder, or thou shalt not murder. That's commandment number 6 on a tablet. Just one line. It doesn't say anything about murder. It doesn't tell you what the morality involved, what causes the murder, just a law. That's the 10 Commandments. But here, in the book of Genesis, Moses had ample time and opportunity to discuss with us, to tell us, not only that we have a law of bloodshed, but it will tell us everything we need to know about it, what causes it, how can we prevent it, what are the morality issues involved. Here in this segment of the Torah, you will find everything that Moses thinks that we need to know about bloodshed. And you won't get it in any other book or any other fashion. So let us now ask, how come bloodshed follow Eden? Why did Moses put it right there after the expulsion from Eden? And there are several answers. And the most simple one is the list. I remember the list in Eden when God gave Adam the commandment. God gave the commandment in Adam when he told him not to eat the fruit. It said he commanded Adam. And we already learned the word commanded here is superfluous. And it hints to the fact that God gave Adam the entire 6 commandments. Adultery, bloodshed, theft, and so on. Some of those could be violated in Eden, like adultery, not listening to Hashem, adultery, if she cohabited with the serpent, but killing and the rest of it were not applicable in Eden. Yet God gave it to Adam in case he will find himself on earth. So in Eden, Adam and Eve already violated 2, verse 2. You just said it. The idolatry by not listening to Hashem, eating the food. Adultery if she cohabited with the serpent. She's a married woman. So on earth, they already violated the first two. So now the third one hits them hard. Is activated first, so to speak. So that may explain why, as a move to earth, the first commandment that challenged them was bloodshed number 3, because that's the order. So that's a technical answer, but there is certainly much more than that. A better explanation is that the transition from Eden to earth was associated with exposure to death and the maladies, sorrow. All that wasn't in Eden. So no wonder that the killing became the primary fascination. So it's not just the list, but living the transition itself was accompanied by drastic change in the environment and a drastic change in our mindset. What was this drastic change in our mindset that accompanied the Kabbalah, which I hardly use usually, but the book of Zohar tell us that something happened in the transition. It says there that before they were chased out, God made them skin coat to cover the soul and the body, skin coat. In Eden, they had a light coat, light, or Aleph. And now they have a skin coat, it's all with Ayin. Just switch from Aleph to Ayin. What are the skin coats that he developed on earth? He developed to help them to live on earth. Those skin coats, according to the Zohar, are the source of everything, a lot of desires, passion, and drives that we harbor, that implanted in us as a gift in order to survive in this world. Drive and passion, without it, we won't achieve anything. And I'll give you an example. Big ego is part of the skin. Sex drive, without which we won't achieve anything, as Freud said. The drive to kill. There is some drive, passion to kill, like in animal, maybe inherited from the animal. And that's important for us to live, especially in those days that we live in the jungle. And a drive to own the territorial, to own not only territory, but to own object and to own other people, to own. Ownership make you feel important. And ownership will drive you to produce, to progress. In communism, when there's no ownership, private ownership, things are stored. And then the drive to wield social power, to leave a legacy. It's an extremely important drive, as Carl Jung said. You know, there is the debate if it's sex drive or car to wield power is more important. Leave it alone right now, but we need those drives to survive and thrive in this world. But these gifts that are planted in us by this in the skin coat by Elohim, the creator of nature, are a precious gift. But you know, everything that Elohim does is for a trial. He's a judge. You only learn that Elohim always give and ask something back in return, measure for measure. So if he gave us those talents, those gifts, they also serve as a trap for sin on which we stand on trial. I'll give you an example. Our ego is a wonderful drive, very important for us. Self-consciousness, ego. Without it, we won't achieve anything. But ego can lead to idolatry, primary source of idolatry. Next, drive for sex, extremely important, but will drive us to commit adultery. Number 3, a drive to shed blood, which can push us to commit murder. Number 3. And a drive to own things that can push us to do stealing, theft. Small scale, big scale, organized theft, we'll discuss it. But theft, from a drive to own, and to the drive to willpower, social power, will drive us to do injustice, number 5. So you see that the commandment, do not commit, thou shalt not commit murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, and so on, are given to us to alert us that we are on trial. Those gifts will push us to do exactly those things, and we need to hear the God command to stop us from doing it, because we are standing on trial. And if we win our trial, when our time comes and our soul goes up to heaven, it will be as pure as the soul of Adam before the sin. And our soul will sit higher in the throne. So Moses is saying that the foremost, at the front of those skin coat tribes, bloodshed pops up right after the expulsion of Eden. It becomes number 1 challenge. Mankind is fascinated by the sin of death and by killing that capture the mind and imagination. You can see that fascination in the pictures, for instance, that cavemen left on the wall. How fascinated he was with the scene of a beast fighting each other, the sheer power of the beast, the muscles, the scene of killing, the hunting, all these scenes that are left in a cave shows how fascinating they were with the sudden ability to kill, to take life, which it didn't have in Eden. In Eden, living under the tree of life, you couldn't kill. Here, it's become your primary fascination. And that's why Moses emphasized bloodshed first after the transition from Eden. But there is a deeper reason why first. Why bloodshed first? Actually, it was hinted in the name of the tree, a forbidden tree. it was called the tree of knowledge of good and evil. What if somebody eats from the tree, what will happen to him or her? Three things. First, he or she will die. God says, the day you eat of it, you will die, which means you're not going to be here anymore. You will be down there on earth. Remember, Eden is a virtual world formed above earth or somewhere. And if you eat of the fruit, you're going to be living down on earth. You will develop on earth. So you will face on earth, you will face death, angel of death. That's number one. Number two, a thing that can happen after they eating the fruit, you will gain a new system of morality. It's called bad, evil, and good. Good and evil. Three is knowledge of good, of evil and good and evil. It's a new system of morality. I'll explain it to you in a minute. The third thing that can happen to you when you eat the fruit is how do you get those new knowledge, new system of knowledge? What is good and evil? By a personal experience. Knowledge here is a knowledge it's not theoretical knowledge, but knowledge acquired by experience. Let me explain those last 2 points. The system of good and evil. That's how the tree is called. Knowledge of good and evil. What is a new system of morality? Before the sin, they knew right and wrong, which means they knew the difference between to lie and to tell the truth, and right and wrong. Eating from the fruit would be the wrong thing to do. Complying with God's command would be the right thing to do. That's the feature of Elohim, the judge. The judge, the judge assesses us. Elohim assesses us. He decides whether we are. The question is, have we done right? Have we done the right thing or the wrong thing? The judge seeks the truth, the fact, and he acts accordingly. If I violate the law, let's say I drove a human drive, I drove 100 miles on a highway, I did the wrong thing. If I abide by the law, I do the right thing. So in the eyes of the judge, Elohim, sin is measured if you do right or as a meaning of right or wrong. And he acts accordingly, measure for measure. That's what the human knew before the sin. They had a logical mind, and they knew to differentiate between right and wrong, the truth from a lie. That's why the serpent, too, who was smart, he also had the same level. He knew right from wrong, and the serpent knew the difference between lie and truth. That's why he was punished. But when you eat the tree of knowledge, you get a different system of good and evil. Where evil is, by definition, anything that the merciful attribute hates, nothing to do with the law. That's her system. Evil, that's something that she despises or hates. The Torah gives you an example right away. When they ate from the fruit, their eyes opened up and they saw. What did they see? They saw that they were naked. And they covered themselves in shame. Wait a minute. A minute ago, they walk around naked and unashamed. What's the shame of nakedness now? Because earlier, before eating the fruit, they had the perception of Elohim, of right and wrong. There's nothing wrong in going naked. After all, Elohim made nature, and the creature walked around naked. The serpent was smart, and he walked around naked. He was a beast of the field. He walked around naked, unashamed. And so were the humans before the sin. They walk around naked, unashamed. But suddenly, when eating for food, somehow they made them ashamed of the nakedness. Because nakedness, they acquired, by eating, they acquired the perception of a merciful one. And the merciful Hashem, attribute of mercy, despises nakedness. It's against their holiness. The God of Israel hates nakedness, against their holiness. It's going naked is also promotes sexual promiscuity, which he hates. So here we are. The eating for the fruit made them, render them the ability to have the new moral system of good and evil, where evil is something bad in Hashem's eyes. Like in Eden, it translated to walking naked. Also, violating adultery is also something that Hashem hates. So the perception, again, let me repeat it. It came at the perception of Hashem and the perception of evil, what Hashem hates, came to them simultaneously, at the same time. So the perception of mercy, the mercy attribute of mercy, and her feature, and the evil, perception of evil, which means the opposite what she is standing for, both come at once. They gain both the evil and the perception of why it's at once. The knowing evil and knowing Hashem, it's coupled by definition, because if you know Hashem, you know what Hashem hates. You know what evil is. So let us remember that, because what the tree is talking not about what happened in Eden, but the tree foretell them what's going to happen to them on earth when they are exposed to the angel of death. There on earth, they will acquire a big perception of mercy and a big perception of evil at once. Nothing to compare to what they had in Eden. The perspective of Hashem will be much bigger on earth than in Eden. And automatically the perception of evil will be much bigger. Let me explain. about the perception of Hashem. In Eden, all they knew about Hashem before the sin, that the attributes of YHVH participate in creation, shower grace on creation. She is called Chesed, grace. That's how they knew Hashem before the sin. But after the sin, a new perspective of Hashem showed up to them as a forgiving. They hide in the bush, and Hashem walk around. Adam, where are you? Come, confess. Come to me. Where are you? And Adam came out. He would have stayed and confessed, regret, ask forgiveness. He would have stayed in Eden. He failed. But the attribute of Hashem is now not the same. It's not that before the sin, Hashem was only grace, showering goodness on creation. Now it's offering forgiveness. That's a larger, more closer understanding what Hashem is all about. And they gain it by eating the fruit. But the tree is telling us, telling Adam, this is nothing what compared to what you're going to see on earth. You will gain such a big understanding what Hashem is on earth, coupled to know what evil is. Evil in Eden was just walking around naked. On earth, living under the angel of death, evil is cruelty. Evil is indifference to person pain. Evil. And that you will see on earth. And at the same time, opposite of that, you will see the large magnitude of Hashem now as the attribute that hates cruelty. The attribute that hates bloodshed. The attribute of mercy, which has a different meaning, larger meaning, of hating cruelty and bloodshed. And that will happen to you on earth. So you can ask, well, it's a blessing. Why was Adam had to be warned that, wait, better stay here, because if you eat it, you will find yourself on earth and you will see big evil and you will see big meaning of Hashem. Why had he been warned about it? And the answer is because there is a battle. But it's not just seeing it. It will be a battle in your heart and mind to follow either evil or to follow Hashem. That's one of your major challenge on earth. When Adam is thrown on earth, in force he will have a challenge to follow evil, to be attracted to evil, or to be attracted to the merciful one. It's a battle. And both will have tremendous attraction. In fact, one is dependent on the other. The more mercy you will have in your heart, the more evil you'll see outside. I'll explain it to you, what I just said. Had Adam been born on earth without Eden as a part of evolution, just next to the spider and the lizard, just a smart creature, that Adam, smart Adam, would not know anything about Hashem, Yud-Heh Vav-Heh, merciful one, because he never had a chance to eat any forbidden fruit. And that Adam will not perceive mercy at all. So how would the world look to that kind of creature? Bereft of any sense of mercy. It will look to it as a natural world, full of pain, and it's a just world, run by Elohim. You eat and being eaten. There's no moral issue here. You're part of that cycle. You eat and being eaten. You better eat, better protect yourself. Be strong. You will have absolutely no idea what mercy is. And such an Adam can destroy the world. If he's smart and he has no mercy, he will destroy the world. But fortunately, when Adam came down to earth, he already had sense of mercy in his heart. Even cavemen had the aspect of mercy in his heart that showed him or highlighted the sin of evil as such. So when he placed evil on the cave wall, the fascination comes from the very idea, the very notion that deep in his heart, he knew that something can be different. He was fascinated by evil because he perceived it as something awesome that not necessarily should be the ideal world for him. So the very fascination with evil, comes from some kind of mercy that we carry. And the more we learn Torah, the more we progress, and the more we know about mercy, in fact, we will detect more evil outside. For a person who is completely endowed with mercy and Torah and so on, for him, evil outside is huge because he's more sensitive to it. So that's a kind of paradox. The more we learn Torah, the more we understand evil. But the Psalm says, the Psalm of the Sabbath day, that the Levite sang in a temple, it says that evil will burn like grass because it's only perspective. And one day when Hashem will fill our heart completely, this perspective of evil will go away because we will understand what mercy really is, and we will not be attracted to evil anymore. So now let us move to the third meaning of the tree, message of the tree. The tree is called the tree of knowledge, knowledge of good and evil. So it will come when you eat the fruit, you will gain a knowledge of the new system. Now the word for more knowledge here is Da'at, D-A-A-T. Da'at is a special kind of knowledge. It's knowledge that acquired by personal, intimate touch with the subject, as opposed to theoretical. Theoretical knowledge can be chokhmah, understand Lord's large concept. Bina, understanding things more detailed, also theoretical. Chochma Bina. And that, the third level, is a knowledge that acquired by intimate relationship with reality. Chochma Bina, that is a Chabad movement, acronym for that. So the tree is predicted. If you eat from the fruit, you will gain the knowledge of the new system, not by theoretical understanding, but by personal experience. How do I know that? That's the meaning. Because next verse says that on earth, the first thing they did on earth was Adam knew his wife, and she bore him a son, Cain. Now, Adam knew his wife intimately, earthly way, in a practical earthly meaning. And the word here is dat. So the tree of knowledge predict that eating from the fruit will render the one who eat it a personal understanding through personal experience, understanding both Hashem in a big time and evil in a big time, through personal experience. Who is that person who experienced it? Actually, the verse here predicted. It was Eve. She had, first of all, she had a personal experience of love with a husband. She knew her husband. And then, when she gave birth to Cain, she had the experience of exposure to agony and pain of labor pain, huge pains, no anesthesia, the firstborn. She saw the angel of death big time. And then holding the baby, she saw love and compassion and mercy big time. Her body is completely washed with hormones in love. So here she is experiencing evil and a new perception of mercy and compassion in life and against cruelty, big time. One person in one experience. And that's what the tree predicts. And that's what happened. So on that, we will focus next time. We'll see exactly what happened to Eve at the time she gave birth to Cain. Well, what kind of introduction it is to the story of the first murder, Cain and Abel. You're not getting this information in any other book, only in the Torah.